slide, one of my PPT here. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah. So I'm sharing this PPT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. It is
now?
visible. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. So welcome, my dear friends. You can see here the topic: creating a student-centric teaching and learning environment. Obviously the question is the teaching and learning environment what we have right now in India, is it not student-centric? And if what kind of a student-centric you are going to discuss? So these are some of the questions we all have, and I'm going to discuss about the solutions or the answer to these questions. About me, already Professor Algin has already introduced. Before I enter, let me tell about the institute just in 1 minute. You know about VIT, it has 4 campuses, more than 40,000 students we have, and more than 2,000 faculty members we have, and we have students from 53 countries and all states of India. So we have many MOUs, about 240 MOUs, and many industry partner also we have. So and VIT is an institution of eminence. Recently, government has recognized out of 20 in India. So with this small introduction of my institute, I would like to go to the topic. So before I start, let us discuss about some of the points why this student centric is important for us. This important point will help us to think on. We have about 940 universities and private universities 480. Private 480 right now it's about 500, and 40,000 plus in colleges we have. Out of the 65% are private. So private institutions are playing a very important role for the education in India, and nearly 6,000 engineering colleges are there. So 80% enrollment in UG, and quality teacher shortage over 40%. Normally government take the statistics based on the PhD, NET and GATE qualified, those things. So not necessarily that only PhD, GATE and NET qualified are quality teacher. So quality teacher is maybe tomorrow I have a discussion on that quality part. So and employable engineering students is about 24 to 25%. That means others are not employable. This is a point what we really need to think on. And since so many years I have been hearing about the same statistics. That means things are not improving. So if it does not improve, if we cannot improve the student-centric teaching and learning, employable students we will not get. So student centric is very, very important, because I always say that a student's happiness in the campus and being success. So this happiness is very, very important, and happiness comes from what they want in teaching and learning. How do they want to learn? Are we teaching them in that way? So these are some of the things to make students happy. And sometimes we think that our extracurricular activities always make students happy. It is not correct. It is required, but the students mainly come in the campus for learning. So they want to be happy, first of all, while learning, then other things. So then I would like to tell you about one or two things. before I start. You see, still people, means our students, number of students going US for higher education, it is increasing. So this is just yesterday I took from Economic Times, but this is November 19, 2019. So just 1 year before. So in 2019, 3% increased. And the 2 lakh, more than 2 lakh students added. So another statistics, I've seen that 41% Indian students go abroad because of teaching quality. Some people say that they go because of earning in dollars, settles. It is happening, but many students are coming back. And when they go, not that always they think to earn in dollar. Actually, basically, you see, 41% of students are saying that we are going for teaching learning. Teaching quality in those in countries. Yesterday I saw this. What is the situation in other countries? 34% of Canada's foreign students are from India. In other countries also almost it's like that, but I only kept these two, US and Canada. Why these two slides I'm sharing with you? The reason is, recently in the national education policy, some of you have gone through, you have seen that in national education policy, they clearly said there was a time in India, students from outside, other countries used to come, this Nalanda, Takshila, those universities. But now it is not happening. Now students are going from India, and India is not in a position to attract foreign students. Foreign students actually earn a lot of revenue for the country, and also it improves our diversity. And US is the country nicely making use of our brains. So we need to really, it's a concern. We need to really think why students are going abroad. 41% of students saying that teaching quality. Many students are going for many reasons. So what is not there in our country? We have IITs, we have very good central universities, the state universities, some of the very good private universities. But still, our children, when they go to final year in BTech, if they think for higher study, first they think which country they will go, which university they will go, based on ranking and those things. That means there are problems in our teaching learning mechanism. We need to accept it. National education policy has accepted it, and they have taken some measures that we need to improve, and we need to attract the foreign students. Actually, one of the criteria of a world-class university is students from other countries. The university should attract the students from other countries, and the teachers also from other countries would love to have an experience in those universities, world-class universities. But in India, unfortunately, we do not have that kind of institute. I'm considering even all IITs also, that if tomorrow a professor of India get a position in a good US university, they will go. Students, if they get chance to study in US or other country, they will go. At least most of them, almost all of them. So it's a fundamental question, why we are not in a position to attract them, to keep them, or for the higher study in our country, in our institutions. It's a concern. So today's topic, student learning environment, a student concentric learning environment is very, very important in that respect. We need to create a student concentric learning environment. You can ask me, so do you think that it is not there in India? I can very well prove that it is not there in India. Student centric education. So in next 1 hour, I would discuss what is really it is. Many things we are borrowing from them. Anyway, let me come to those slides. So yeah, you see the first 10 countries having the highest number of foreign students. India is not there. Anyway, now let us come to the point. You see, student-centric environment and teaching-centric environment. I am talking about only teaching learning. Research, today I will not discuss much. Student-centric environment and teacher-centric environment. That means the environment of your campus is a student-focused or teacher-focused. Again, I'm saying some extracurricular activities, some musical program, some competitions of students. Those things are very much required to create a student-centric environment. But today, I'm not going to discuss those things. I'm only trying to concentrate on teaching and learning. How to make a teaching learning centric environment. All those things are there well enough in almost all universities. But teaching learning, we are missing something. At the same time, what teacher-centric environment? These two should not be different actually. I'm coming to the point. Before that, let me share with you. I'm just discussing in a very friendly manner and just like I'm telling a story and nothing like that. You can anytime stop me and talk with me, and it's just a friendly discussion. I have so many years experience. I can share my experience with you, not only in India, in many other countries, teaching, learning, research, all these things I have analyzed a lot for my profession. So first of all, we need to understand the students where we do a mistake. It's when we are a student, we know that there was a different environment, respect towards teachers, some kind of Gurukul environment. It was there during that time. We have seen so many respectful students, so many the teachers. That environment was different. But now, students' culture, students' mind setup is different. People say it is Y generation, Z generation. Okay, whatever may be the generation. The fact is, students' mind setup is different now. So even you see your children, their mind setup, and when you are children, your mind setup, there is a difference. That is why we need to understand the present generation students, and I don't know future generation student what will happen. Present generation student, you see, they are saying that teachers, if you dare, we are waiting. So like that kind of, but the thing is that we cannot blame the student. We need to accept it. We need to change ourselves. So students are changing. The question is, are we changing? Most of the teachers, we believe that why students are not so respectful, why they are not sitting a classroom like this, the first figure you see, first. So, no, students, we need to accept that the students are different. We need to deal them accordingly. This is one thing I would like to say, that understanding students, of course, understanding students, it depends on their age, their university student, college student, and their gender, so many things. And a student of US and students of India are not same. All these things I can understand, but the basic things now is different. Students different, because that in everything, the culture, you see now, shopping mall culture, so many things, you see, all these things are coming, and people and are accepting, and people are habituated with. So we need to accept that students are different from that generation. So what to do? Just I'm giving you some interesting pictures. The example of a student-centric environment to make the class lively, so that students will be focused. This eye contact will be there, and you see, I always say in my school that a teacher should be surrounded by students. So, but the thing is that in some teachers, the students don't like to go. So, if you are a teacher and your students do not come to you, you really need to think on why. Why students are not liking to come to me? So you need to find out. Nobody else can tell. Actually, there are so many mechanisms. This NAC, NBA, Dean, HOD, basically all those things hardly work unless you think. So you need to think that why students are not coming to me. Even if you are, one thing let me tell you that most of our Indian teachers are very knowledgeable. That is one thing. There is no question on that. But only the question is creating a student-centric environment by that knowledgeable teachers. I am only talking on that. So there is no question of knowledge. Even I particularly know that Indian teachers average their knowledge is better than many foreign countries. But student-centric environment is not there. That is the point what I am discussing. So you see how the student-centric environment too, I will discuss further also. And when it is teacher-centric environment, when teacher are basically not thinking about students, they are only thinking about some knowledge, of course, they have about the subject, they read book, they have experience, they have a good PhD degree, they have good publications, they know so many big professors, so they are very proud of that. But I'm not saying all, so most of us hardly care what students are thinking. So we don't want to understand the students, their mind setup, the things inside their mind, and as a result, our instruction, our classes becomes boring. And because of that, students really do not learn. And because of that, finally, getting employable students becoming a problem. So we hardly think that what students want and how to make them happy, because as I always say that happiness only brings success. So sometimes you will see that some teachers simply enter in the classroom and start writing, and this board is very big, small board or big board. So write, and hardly he or she wants to see that are students taking or are students understanding. So this happens in most of the colleges and universities. Still, things are changing in India also, but this are happening still in India in many colleges and universities. So the students do not like this kind of teaching. They want interaction, and through that interaction they want to learn something new. If it is already known to them and available in the website, they are not interested for that. And nowadays students are informative. So I will discuss more details also. This is one slide I would like to give some time. This is basically we need to a slide we need to understand to make the environment student centric. Two things: teachers' approaches to teaching, students' approaches to learning. These two should match. You see the next, the teachers' conceptions of teaching and learning and teachers' perception of teaching environment. These two constitute the teacher's approach of teaching. Question mark, I am coming to that. Now in the right hand side, you see what is a student's approach to learning. Students' conceptions of learning, students' perceptions of the learning environment, and students' learning outcome. So these three things are the students' approach to learning. Question mark says what is the percentage of matching? Basically, you see left hand side, teachers' approach to teaching, and right hand side, students' approach to learning. These two should match. Ideally, it should be exact match, no gap, 0% gap, but it is ideally only, but it should be as closer as possible. It should match. Now the question is, what is teachers' approaches to teaching and what is the students' approaches to learning? You see our approach. I'm also a teacher. I take class in every semester. What is normally our approach? If we teach a new subject, we take a book or two books we study, or some online material we study and understand. Some good teachers get some examples, real life examples, and next day we go to class and explain what I have studied with some examples also. But the question, this is our approach. If it is a new subject, if it is old subject, what I have been teaching last so many years, what we do, whatever we know, I've been teaching last 10 years on subject, just simply go to the class and say the same thing. I don't know what is changing, what is not changing, same thing has been changed or not, but the students know it. And year after year, same thing I am teaching in my class, but different students. Every time new students are coming. And in engineering specifically, also in science, things changes very fast. So, but I don't care what is changing or not changing. Just whatever I know, I am teaching. So it is happening not only in a particular institute, in almost every institute, including the great institutes. So these are the normal approaches of teaching. But students, how they want to learn? They want to learn the same thing differently. That I will explain in details, but since I'm in this slide also, I want to share with you one or two points. As for example, I'm telling you, many electronics people are there. One fundamental things I'm say what we teach in the class, diode rectifier. we draw the diagram, explain the working principle, explain the operation, what is called characteristics, IV characteristics, then explain the mathematical equation, diode current, those things. Sometimes you derive the mathematical equation in the board, and sometimes we derive in the notebook and write it. But students, you see, all these things are there in book. In book, thing half wave or full wave rectifier, it's nicely written in many books. And video, YouTube, everything is possible. So students do not want the way normally we teach that, say, rectifier, half wave rectifier. Rather, if you tell students, I am giving you this diode, say 1N4007, and I am giving another diode, so I am making two group. You tell me this is a half wave rectifier or full wave rectifier. What they will do, they will go to lab and they will test it, and they will show me that its output graph is like this. So they will tell me, sir, this is a full wave rectifier. Or they will use two diodes to get the full wave rectifier, and they will give me the result. Sir, if I take one rectifier, it is giving half wave rectification, and two wave, full wave rectification, like this. So all these things they want to learn by that way. So then they will read book. What will happen? What is this 1N4007? What is the rectification? How it happens? And what will happen if I take one rectifier? What will happen if we take two rectifiers? What will happen if we take four rectifiers? So all these things, then they will open book. So students, in most of the cases, they want to learn in that way. So, but not that it is only the way. There are many ways nowadays students, this generation of students want to learn. So that kind of student-centric teaching is very, very important. That is why I'm saying that this we need to always think that our approaches to teaching and students' approaches to learning, these two are matching or not. If it is not matching, what is the percentage? So that we really need to, that is called actually connecting the students. Connection should happen. And connection is, teaching is the main criteria. Of course, there are many other things to connect the students in the class. Need to be, you may be a great professor, no problem. But you need to, you may be above 50 or above 60, no problem. You need to be very friendly with the students. You need to give an impression that I am a very ordinary person. You can approach me. You need to be approachable. So that, and you need to be very caring. All these things we know, but we need to practice in the class. But teaching is the first criteria. You can be everything. Without teaching, it will not help. So teaching, we need to keep the top priority. After that, all these things are required, and good communication skill. Nowadays, you see students are coming from English medium school. Of course, many teachers in India, communication skill is very good, but it is required. You need to connect the students. This communication skill play a very important role. So a good human being, so many things are there. So but ultimately, we need to see that what students want to learn and how. This let me tell you, share with you some other points. Nowadays, the infrastructure in teaching classrooms is being changed. Of course, because of this pandemic, all of us taking online class, that is a different infrastructure. It has forced us to do that. but there are some other thing we supposed to change to create a student centric environment. But since like pandemic, it is not forcing, we are not doing it. So infrastructure also, actually we are saying that a student's mindset has been changed to teach that students of different mindset. We need to create resources, not only changing teachers mindset up, but also resources, different infrastructure. It's, we need to really think of. You see, visited 3-4 US universities, and their classrooms, of course many of you have seen that their classrooms are like this. Now in VIT we are changing classrooms gradually, a big classroom, and so many projectors are there, students are sitting in the group. This is not a lab classroom, this is an engineering classroom. In lab also we do like this, but this is not lab. So and teachers, you see, teachers are roaming around, and the students are asking their doubts, and teachers going to them and asking that where you are facing problem, and they are doing the things properly or not. So in that way they are learning. It's some kind of hackathon. You say hackathon concept also, it has come from other countries, and now it has become popular. So normally making students sit in the library for more than 1 hour or learning is very difficult task, but for hackathon they 6 even 48 hours, because they are liking the things to do in that way. So that is why their approach is always important. In the last slide I said that teaching approach, the students learning approach, we need to concentrate on students approach to learning. We need to think, we need to analyze that how students want to learn. My students, in my this semester I am teaching 75 students, so how they want to learn. Not that every year it may not work in the same way. So we need to make some study and analysis. So teachers should not spoon feed. Normally what we do in the classroom, most of the time we spoon feed. So we only master of the subject, go to class and try to explain everything. So they should, teachers should make the students to think, how to think. One example I have given, that diode rectifier example. So like that, you make some challenging experiment or challenging assignment. Challenging in the sense, it is not available in the book. When we prepare assignment, normally we see what are the things in the book. No, based on your knowledge, you create new assignment. One professor, Siram, he said, he is a professor of National University of Singapore. So he said that in every semester I need to create 30 assignments. That is the only or main task of my profession. So 30 challenging assignment he creates every semester. So for his 30 students in the class. So challenging experiment, challenging assignment, you need to create, you need to give a lot of time for that. You need to be fully professional and dedicated. For if you have 100 students, for them you need to spend whole time. So that is why we always say that teaching is a challenging job. Teaching is the most difficult and challenging job. It is not a job like a clerical job. And but practically in India, teaching has become a very easy job. It's not, actually it is not easy. So you see, in your subject, if you tomorrow if you create 100 new assignments or 10 new assignments, completely new, it is not available anywhere, even 10 new questions, it is not so easy. Then project idea of course, even in VIT also I've seen in many 5 years before the project students are doing, now also students are doing the same project. No, completely new project. So to create that kind of new project is a challenging task. Then I am trying to discuss some of the points like innovative teaching, that online learning not required to discuss. We are all habituated with now online learning, and but online learning, not that during pandemic it has come, it was there, and in India most of us didn't like it, but it was there, and now we are forced to do that, and in future also you will see that it will be there, online offline both will be there. Completely online will disappear, probably it will not happen. Then one serious problem we are facing in a virtual lab. You see, you are doing theory classes, taking theory classes, that is going on fine, but the students actually want to do the experiments, especially in engineering. It is very, very important. I have some slides, next 3-4 slides I will discuss on virtual lab, because virtual lab is something, and this pandemic period, we are not in a position to create a student-centric environment, because the students are really not doing experiments properly. Somehow we are managing, fine, but experiment online can be done, it is possible. So that I will discuss further. Then mobile learning. Students want to learn immediately from mobile. Recently, VIT has purchased 1.5 lakh. I'm getting some noise. Recently, VIT has purchased 1.5 lakh e-books. So, because we know that students want to read the books, even not laptop, in mobile. So we need to create necessary infrastructure so that the students can learn from mobile. Actually, truly speaking, we also learn many things. We also read so many articles nowadays in mobile, all of you know. So it's not that mobile always we use for WhatsApp and other Facebook and other chat. So many times mobile we use for learning, for reading an article. National Education Policy, that report I read so many times in mobile only. So that you can say that why we will not allow students to learn from mobile. Then you cannot create a student-centric environment. You need to create an environment what a student wants. So then blended learning, of course, as I said that the combination of offline and online is the future. Then flipped class, it is there in other countries. Recently, we started that practice that you make a video of your class and give it to the students. The student will see the video, and next day they will come with questions. This will give us challenge, but this is the future, and the students like it. So the students will come with so many questions. You will only answer to those questions. Active learning, it is now working in India. Hackathon, these are all hands-on kind of learning. Hackathon, then PBL, then other project, all these things. These are all concepts we have taken from abroad. So like that, so many things you can also innovate here, new things. So these are the some of the new learning techniques. You like it or not, but your students like it. So we need to create an environment in the campus so that students can learn. If the students see that this institute is not doing, then they will go to another institute where people are doing. So that is why. And another thing is that, of course, you are all aware of. I think it is there in next slide. I will discuss about the flexibility. That is very, very important. Students now want to, that the National Education Policy has said about huge flexibility and independence of students. So I'm coming to those points. As I said that I will discuss some of the points on virtual lab, and so that because I did some work on virtual lab one MHRD Government of India project. Myself and IIT Kharagpur also was there. Jointly we have done. So just I will share with you that online, it's also called online lab, labs on demand, e-labs, remote labs. So it's basically doing the experiments through internet from anywhere, anytime. I am not saying anyone because anyone cannot do the experiments. Only the students who have registered for the subject. So it can remove the disparity between educational standards in different engineering colleges. So if IITs conduct an experiment, a student from a remote village college, they can do the same experiment. So IIT students are doing the same experiment, and that college student also doing the same experiment. So that will remove the disparity if it is possible to establish virtual labs. Some of the IITs, they have established virtual labs. It is available in the website. So it's a solution for distance education without lab and experiments. All this distance education, even Coursera, MOOC course, most of this education is happening without any lab and experiments. So that should not. So that is why virtual lab is important for all engineering, science, even basically for engineering and science. So you can use the hardware facilities of expensive labs sitting at your home. Suppose IIT, normally they get a lot of money from government that they have a lab, very expensive lab. So if you can, by sitting in your village, in your room, you can make use of that expensive lab facility, hardware. I'm telling you, in VIT also, we are now managing with software experiments online. We are giving the link to the students are doing different SPICE solution, this and that. Software experiments, simulation experiments, mainly they are doing. But hardware experiments, crores of money invested for these equipments, instruments, in not only in VIT, in all institutions. All these things are useless because so what I'm saying, it is for hardware using hardware lab online. Software lab is already going on fine. So it can be used in regular courses of students and on and off campus, of course. So this is just to share with you that how it happens. Normally, three things are in the picture. One is the client means the user, and server there, and server is basically connected to the lab. You can see in the left hand side there is an experiment going on. I've taken it from the net only. So server connected to that, and server is getting the data from PLC, and server is sharing it to the internet, and through server client are communicating. Then you need to have a web service. So these three things are important. And this entry to lab session is restricted by a time reservation system. Of course, the lab is going on. Actually, this experiment we have done in IIT Kharagpur is a hardware lab. We have jointly did that work. So the thing is that experiment will be on, and you can change the input parameters. I'm just speaking on outside of the box so that everybody can understand. So input parameter you can change, say you can change the voltage, and output how current is changing, and as for example as a MOSFET experiment. So how the current is changing ID because of that voltage change VD, or because of the gate voltage. So that variation, but this input change who will do? You see there is a camera, you can see the experimental setup in your desktop sharing, and but the lab, someone should be there, lab should be on. But in other countries, people know it. They have in Japan, I have seen that robots are there. So the exact experiment you can do as if you are doing the hardware experiment in the lab. So the clients through server, through time management system, you need to take an appointment online, all these things for 2 hours. You can do the experiments, then next one will come. So, but the thing is that it is not, you cannot do the experiment in multiple monitors, one experiment one time. So it treats a remote login as a separate user session. It does not support multiple monitors, fine. So this is still IITs are following the same procedure for doing online experiments. In VIT, only for some experiments we have developed. And that is why online experiment, we all need to think for present and future. It is not very difficult, my experience is saying, because otherwise you cannot create a student-centric environment. You say students are not saying anything, but they have a feeling that IIT, some of the foreign student, foreign university, and in some of the IITs, students are doing the experiment, hardware experiment, but we are not in a position to doing the experiment. So that is in their mind, and gradually we need to develop this hardware experiment through online. So actually, yeah, this is in 2011, I think. I was much younger, and I was doing these CV characteristics of MOSFET. I was doing the experiment of IIT Kharagpur. So long back. Recently, NEC has published an article, my article there in virtual lab. So virtual lab for hardware experiments is something we need to develop. Maybe we need to make it team in the institute, and it is required nowadays. And in future also, when we will start the classes normally, also this virtual lab will be required. Already, as you know, that government has already announced that if the students do not want to come to the campus, you cannot force them to come. You need to create necessary facilities for them so that they can carry on online classes. So I don't know, definitely some students will like to come in the campus, or some students will not, even after 6 months, I'm saying. So for them, we need to be ready for all online facilities. All these things time will say, but what I'm saying that virtual lab is very, very important for our teaching learning system, to create a proper environment for teaching learning system, specifically in engineering and science. So you have any question, you can write in the chat box. Professor, how you are taking the questions?
Sir, we used to take the questions both through the chat box as well as in the video chat itself.
Okay, so after the talk?
Yes, sir, after the talk.
Yeah, so I will be very happy to answer some of your queries and to discuss.
Participants, if you have any interim questions, you can post it in the chat box so that I can note it down. And during the end of the session, we will ask all the questions one after the other to the resource person.
Yeah, please. Because this is just a discussion. It's not that I am a teacher, I am teaching something. It's not like that. We are all discussing. Basically, I always like to interact in any topic in teaching and learning and research. So as I said, that infrastructure, you see, now we need to have different infrastructure. You see, gone are the days that you will have some classrooms, then teacher, there will be a board, and teachers will go and write and those things. So only this infrastructure, nowadays it's not possible. Even in school, you see so many things there, people are changing now. So either in school or in university, now we need to change the infrastructure. As I said, I have already said about the why different size, different environment, different internal what is called interior design required differently nowadays. I have already said. But in addition, you see, we need first of all we need laptop, desktop, whatever it may be, and internet need to be there, and library now. You see, we have a very big library. Very big library of fully air conditioned 24/7 to work. But students, you will not see or you will hardly see any students there. Mostly they use the library online. So your entire library should be connected to the laptop. So this is and students need to be connected. You need to teachers need to be connected first with the different communities. You need to serve the different communities. Then they really need field experts. So whatever we say, all these things are peripheral, but actual thing is that we need to have the expertise. And online training, it is already there. Now it is happening. So I want to share with with you some of the points of modern teaching and learning to create a student-centric environment. We already aware of that. Students need to be very, teachers need to be very frank, very cordial. These and all these things are fine, and it is there. I'm not going to discuss all those points, conventional points. Rather, I would like to discuss here some of the infrastructural facilities I have already said. Now you see classrooms should have the ICT facilities. Nowadays, government are also saying the same thing, that you need to have audio, video in the classroom so that you can show the animation, show the video. You see, specifically engineering students need to visualize the things, even science students. It is not theory. They need to visualize the picture. As for example, that the force Newton, 5 Newton, 1 Newton, it is, what is the difference? They need to visualize that all this stress, strain, Young modulus, all these things they need to visualize. So for that they need to see the animation, they need to see the video, and for that in your class need to have ICT audio video facilities, and you need to make use of it, and measure data from student survey statistics. This normally happens in most of the countries abroad. That at the end of the week or at the end of the month or at the end of the semester, they must take the survey of the students. We give feedback at the end of the semester, but for that semester it does not work. It is better to have a survey. Is not a big thing. Just you share a Google link with some questions to all students. They don't need to write their name and roll number. They will. You will understand actually what you need or what they want from you. So it's very modern technique that nowadays we are very familiar with the Google link. Simply go send a Google link to them. I do it, and give some questions, and some students will tell you how you are teaching and what they want, where your weakness. This improve to create a student-centric environment in the campus, and also this improves to, especially the young, old, everybody. It improves to help our teaching to improve and to become a better teacher year on year. Encourage students' interaction in the class. That is everybody, all of you know, and sensitize the students about the long opportunities. You need to tell them that what are the opportunities in future for this subject, and you need to give some live examples that then students will get some interest in your subject. They will feel that this subject, if I study, as for example electromagnetic theory, if you are teaching, you need to tell them how it helps for GATE, how it helps for all competitive exams, and how it helps in some of the modern research areas like EMI, EMC to measure. And EMI, EMC is a essential requirement in industries to measure for all equipments. So their practical knowledge on electromagnetic theory. Normally we think that electromagnetic theory is a boring subject. Actually, it's the most interesting subject. So in industry, it has a lot of applications. So and it has a lot of potential for new fields. And nowadays, even People are studying the stability, EMI, EMC study in all new equipments. So what I'm saying that if you tell the students those things, those stories, then only people they will see that, yeah, what sir is saying. They will verify in the Google whatever you are saying. So they will say that yes, sir or madam, whatever they are saying, all these things are correct. So then they will get interest in electromagnetic theory. So electromagnetic theory, like many things, we only, it's artificial. There are some what is called artificially, we say that it is a boring subject. No subject is boring actually. All subject has its own interest. So we need to explain it to the students and encourage flexibility. That I was trying to say in the last slide. Flexibility has become an essential tool now for creating a student-centric environment. Students love flexibility. National education policy said many times about the flexibility. Now they are saying that students will go for 1 year and will come again after 3 years, and again they will be in the class. So it is there in US and others, maybe some other countries. But that kind of flexibility also one student we need to give them. Then you see in our university 10 years back, we started FFCS, fully flexible credit system. Students can choose the room, students can choose the faculty, students can choose the what is called timing. All these things students can choose. They can take any subject to accept that some core subject. So all this flexibility, these are some of the things we have already we have borrowed. I'm not saying it's our own idea. So maybe we need to create some better ideas how to give flexibility to the students. But the students want that kind of flexibility. In fact, nowadays we also want like that. Earlier, now I am in my office, but nowadays we don't want to come morning 9 and going evening 6. Now I want that flexibility. I want to work do some work in midnight. It's now that is the trend. People want more independence, more flexibility, but output is important. But, students also are not saying that they will compromise with output. They also are coming for learning. We also say that you learn, but why it is not happening? Only because of environment. That environment we need to create. Encourage multi and interdisciplinary approaches. Very, very important. National education policy also said the same thing. And without that, we cannot get new subjects. You see, electrical vehicle. Nowadays, you see, for electrical vehicle, that was the problem, to make the vehicle electrically active, means so that it can run through power. So to do that, we need electrical engineers, we need mechanical engineers, we need computer science engineers, we need energy people. So we need petroleum people. So we need electronics people. All these people together, if they work, then this electrical vehicle they can make. Already it has been made. Similarly, you see, there are many areas. Telemedicine, you need communication people, medical science people, electronics people. So together can. So all these things are upcoming areas. All upcoming areas, basically multi or interdisciplinary by nature. So we cannot now, it is called monodisciplines. We cannot simply depend on a particular subject. So that is why we need to work together. We need to work on the multidisciplinary projects to get the idea of new subjects. It is called transdisciplinary approach, which give us new thoughts, new ideas, new methods, new equations. So this kind of things should come from us. So that is why we need to make a habit and practice and plan for it. Automatically nothing will happen. So collaborative learning, teamwork, group work. Now why industries are saying that the students are not employable. one reason is this, that because in industry people work in project, all of you know it, in a particular project, immediately they go to a team. So if they do not have working experience in a team, it is very difficult to fit into a team. So that is why this team practice, group work practice, this collaborative learning in universities abroad, there are many what is called, they say collab, means collaborative lab are there. They say physics and chemistry combined lab, at least one but a high-end lab. So like that, electrical and mechanical, high-end mechatronics lab, say. So like that, this teamwork, group work, we need to create in the campus for the students, and that will make our students employable. Need to focus more on students' performance rather than teachers. So I have already explained that students' performance means basically outcome. I think this FDP also is basically an outcome that you see, we know NAAC. I have experience now. We are fourth cycle. We are going for NAAC accreditation in VIT. Then NB accreditation. I have done ABET accreditation. All accreditation saying one thing: students' outcome. Three things basically: PO, program objective; SLO, students' learning outcome; then what is called CO, course outcome. So outcome, outcome, outcome. Students' outcome is important, but basically, practically what we do, there is a template for outcome. You have experience of NAAC and NB, all of you know it. So we put the values, and finally we get a good percentage of this course outcome. That, okay, for NAAC we are doing it, but each and every day and every semester we need to think that how to improve the learning outcome of the students. That needs your thoughts, and based on your thought, you do the innovative things in the class so that students will learn. And there is, I believe, there is no what is called thumb rule for that. As per the requirement of your students, and you need to make that kind of policies or directions or mechanisms, and you will implement in your class so that the students can learn it. But only the thing is that students need to like it. As per your thought process, you have made something, fine. But you need to see, really see whether students are liking it or not. Otherwise, it will never happen. And it is true for everything. If I tell you something and if you don't like it, how it will happen? So I need to convince you, or I need to really see that what you are liking. So it is very, very important in the classroom and in a teaching learning environment. So under any circumstance, actually that atmosphere, it is not there in most of the Indian university campuses, that under any circumstance we should not think that students their age is they're simply what is called young people, a very big gap between me and them. They know anything. It is not like that. Absolutely, we cannot think like that. We need to give equal respect to them. Respect means what I mean to say that we need to we need to believe that they know, they have the right to speak, and they have the right to suggest me, and I need to think about them. So that is why you see in the student teacher learning environment. So this three red color, you can see that student and teacher, these two small things can really create a learning environment so that respect specifically, we need to believe that students know equally like us, and we need to give proper importance to them, and that we need to believe from our heart. Then only that kind of environment is possible to create. So then engaging students in the class, that again in many ways it can be done. We can create some small groups, and in each group one. Again, I'm saying that teachers' main challenge is to create new assignments for students. New, I'm saying that completely new, no copy from anywhere. You will think based on your knowledge, you will prepare. No copy from anywhere. Normally, many times I have seen that we take it from unknown books, assignment or questions. No, it's completely new. I have seen my teacher in Jadavpur University. He used to create all his questions. He has a question bank, and always whenever he gets time, even during semester break, he used to sit and prepare questions. So new questions nowadays, new assignments and new projects, and also you need to know the solution. So the groups you will make in the class, you need to give the new projects and new assignment to the students, and you will help all the groups so that they can solve it. In this way, you need to engage the students. Students like those things. You just note it down that the students like those things. What students don't like, that you just simply come to the class and say something and you go, or say something that is technically correct. All these things I was saying and going. Students want to engage themselves in a different way. So and also for that we need to create a good rapport between students and teachers, and that is possible if we continuously think on that. So that is why some of the things I thought of sharing with you. Then this will improve ultimately learning outcome. I'm telling you that learning outcome is important for a student's future. Please note down, learning outcome not for NAAC, NBA or ABET or any accreditation. Learning outcome is required for a student's future. If I see that in my institute, students are learning and getting jobs and doing good things, if I don't get a NAAC score, I will not mind it. So learning outcome for a student's future, we need to think continuously how my students in my class will learn better. So that kind of innovation we need to do in the class. Then little bit I will discuss about why research is required for a proper learning environment or student-centric environment. I already said technology changes fast. We need to change ourselves accordingly. Correct. But I want to give you one example. Suppose you have joined, you have got your degree in 1990, joined in 1995 or 2000 in your institute, and now in 2020 you are teaching. So you see, suppose you are teaching mobile technology. This is just an example. So you studied the old technology, which is old now. This Motorola, it's a mobile. You joined in 2000, then and now you are teaching the students the same the subject, the same thing what you studied in 1990. But students know that what is happening in 2020. So they will have a feeling that my teacher is teaching what is already outdated. just this is an example. Say in automobile, what is called a self driving car. So now students want to learn how a self-driving car works. So whatever fundamentally you are teaching, it is fine. While teaching, you need to give the example, what are the new things in the world now and upcoming and future, near future. So that is why research is important. If you do not do research, suppose in renewable energy you are doing research. We all know that solar power, wind power, these are renewable energy. But what is the present status? All this, how solar power to get silicon, what is called the solar panel, how to form and how to, all these things people know. But people want to know what is the current situation. What are the problems or challenges of this solar power? How to improve the efficiency. So for that, you need to be updated. And people who are doing research, they are only updated. If you really do honest research, you must be updated. So that is why you can share with your students. In every subject, it's like that. Some of the subject I am familiar with, that is why I am saying, giving this example. So every subject, you need to be updated to update the students. And the students also will understand that sir is not updated or madam is not updated. And that is enough to create a teacher-centric environment. I have already given you example of I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So power is gone there. Anyway, fine. Then fine. Therefore, engineering teachers needed to be updated, and doing research in that area is the best way to be updated. And today's research is tomorrow syllabus. You see, electrical vehicle, what is the example I have given, this telemedicine and all these things are in research. Now it is in your syllabus. So that is why whatever research you are doing, if you are a good researcher, you will see those areas you are really doing in updated areas, those things will be in the syllabus tomorrow. So research experience helps a teacher to perform and to teach complex concepts more efficiently. Of course, I always say that a teacher needs to know A to Z of the subject. And if you know A to Z, then only it is possible to go to any level based on your students. If you are teaching to first year students, you need to go from very fundamental. So, but if you are teaching a MTech student, you need to go in the top level. So that is why a teacher need to know the subject from A to Z, and you can go to the top level. Depth means you need to be a good researcher also. That is why system and researcher, good researcher also, to develop research mind among students. If you are not researcher, how you will develop research mind among the students? So to motivate towards future new research areas, I have already said, it is always people say that a great teacher motivates. So you can motivate the students. How to motivate? First, you need to be updated the things, then only you can motivate them. And to explain the R&D problems of industry. You see, in the class, especially engineering students, if you tell them some industry example, you see, they are not attentive in the class. Suddenly you say that IBM is doing like that. Immediately you will see their eyes. They are all eyes towards you. They had something called IBM. So industry is something, it is in their mind. So you need to see, especially the top known industries, why it is in their mind, because placement is in their mind. So if it is, then teachers need to know what are the R&D problems in major industries going on. No, if you can, I suggest to go to visit those industries. If you cannot go, also you can see from their website what are the things they are working on. But you cannot go in depth through website. But you will be knowing what are the things that are going on. So it is better to visit the industries. So that is why a teacher
Sir, kindly unmute your mic, sir.
Yeah, now I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, so this slide you can see.
No, sir. We are not able to see the slide.
Now,
Yes, sir, it is visible.
yeah, so I think we are in this slide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So yeah, we are discussing about that why to know the R&D problems of industries by the teachers. So for many reasons. One is to update the students about how things are happening and what are the things are happening in different, specifically the major industries in your area. And another thing is that the consultancy, that if you discuss with them, you will understand where the problem they are facing, and then you can work with them. You can tell them that I can give the solution, and in that way people get consultancy. And another thing is that patent ideas. You see, industries, they work always in advanced areas. So whenever you talk, in fact, one of my friends in national, again, University of Singapore, he has 42 patents. He's of my age or younger to me. So he said, so he has 42 patents. I asked them, what is the secret? So he said only that you go and visit the industries, talk with them, and see, discuss about industry, the ideas and problems they are facing. You will get some ideas, and those ideas the future patent. So these patent ideas you get from them, and it is very, very important for teachers to visit industries. So that is why we need to be aware of R&D problems of industry, very, very important, especially the engineering teachers. There should be research mentor, teaching mentor. Okay. So finally, I would like to tell about the mindset of the teachers to create the student-centric environment. We need to have a growth mindset in everything. Actually, in most of the time, the teachers, year after year, teaching this almost the same thing and following the same process year after year. That is why basically you are saying quality, but it is not really improving. We are in the same stage, but only the thing is that there are some new ideas are coming, say PBL, project-based learning. Now all the institutes it is there. So new ideas are coming. Government is saying to do that, then we are doing. So in that way, actually things cannot change. We need to take our own initiative. You see in VIT that 10 years before we initiated fully flexible credit system, and after 10 years only government said CBCS, choice-based credit system. So that kind of growth mindset we need to have, and we need not wait who will say our government, state government or central government, they will say, then only will do. Rather, government think things much later actually. You see in 2009, I can remember our chancellor, he announced that VIT should be a top 200 university. What I'm saying that, what he basically said that we need to create a world-class university. That was in 2009 or 9-10. In 2018, 2017, government has decided that 20 institutions should be institution of eminence. Why? To go to the top 200, 500, and basically to make a world-class university. So we need to think ahead of others. And we really need to see what the advanced countries are doing. Not that always we will see what they are doing, also we will do something what they will follow. So that kind of mindset up we need to have. Otherwise things will not improve. And fortunately in India we have knowledgeable people, and of course in US also you see their development is mainly because of many Indians, Chinese, and people from other countries, mostly Indians and Chinese now, but originally it is Indians only, now also Indians. So our people are doing excellent things in other countries, and not only I'm saying in industry, even in teaching, learning, I'm saying that, but here we are not in a position to do most of the cases. The main reason is that initiative, leaders need to take the initiative, and fortunately in our institute, our founder has taken so many initiatives, and because of that we are slightly ahead of many institutions, and it is possible by any institutions. Only the thing is that we need to make it happen for the sake of the students and their future, and the outcome based learning is again and again is very important. Again, with that outcome based learning, please don't take it for NAAC and NBA. You take it for a student's future, then automatically things will happen. If your students like you, if employers like you, if you do not have a good NAAC or NBA score, it's not a problem at all. There are many institutions, you see IITs, they don't have any accreditation. But still, when there is a question of admission, first people prefer IITs because their brand, their people are good, their placement, all these things are good. So even a private institution like ISB in Hyderabad, Indian School of Business, you know that highly demanding their MBA program. So they don't have this all this NAAC and accreditations. I'm not saying that we are not will not go for NBA or other accreditations. We will go for, and we always say that accreditation is required for a good institution. Otherwise, how people will understand that you are doing fine. But the purpose should not be NBA. That is the point I would like to share with all of you. And purpose is the creating a student centric, in the sense creating an environment what a student would like. So in every step we need to think students are liking it or not. So, but I'm not saying that to compromise with the discipline. That is, but in the name of discipline, a student should not be deprived from learning. That is very, very important. And for everything, we need to have a growth mindset. Even for our personal, our own career also, this growth mindset is very, very important as a country, as a state, as a university, as an organization, and as a department, and as an individual. Everywhere a growth mindset is the solution, and fixed mindset, no. Actually, 100 years before, the German universities, universities means German universities, but now it is American universities, followed by UK. Of course, recently Asian universities are doing good. China, followed by Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong, then Malaysia. Last 5-6 years, they are doing very good. India only recently thinking of doing national education policy. You will see, you will learn more. That specifically now national education policy said that 6% GDP to spend for higher education. Probably it will happen. So this is all these things are very much required for creating a student-centric environment. Without to create a student-centric environment, you need to have sufficient facilities in the campus. Specifically, I'm saying the project. Students want to learn by doing, but for that you need to create facilities. Means space first, then instruments. I have seen in Japan many universities, they have a common facility for doing projects. I'm not saying common instrumentation facility for research. That is there, that is different. But common facilities for undergraduate students, hundreds of students are working big space and 24/7, and professors are there always by rotation basis, and it's a very lively environment. Students are doing projects. But here in most of the cases we give so many projects, but we hardly see that kind of space and facilities, instruments and people and environment. So complete new things we need to create in the campus to create that kind of environment. So then only it is possible to create a campus for a student. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful session. Audience, now it is your turn. If you would like to ask any questions to the resource person, you can ask your questions.
Yeah, actually, I have kept some time for discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Few participants have already posted their concerned questions in the chat box, which I have recorded it, sir. If there are no questions from the audience side, I will ask all those questions to you.
Sir, can I ask you one question, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I am from the Department of Hotel Management. So, in terms of practical components, I just want to ask about the virtual classes, sir, for the practical for the hotel management students. This is from Jason from Mysore, Mahajana Kitchen.
Virtual experiment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, yeah, that the example what I have given in microelectronics, it is basically possible in all areas to connect the hardware experiments. Only the thing is that the challenge is your hardware you need to connect with the internet. It is not, that is why you need to now take the help of IoT, this Internet of Things. Internet of Things is saying that everything you can connect with the internet. So that project also, for that microelectronics project, we took about 2 years. So yes, it will take some time. You need to make a group that whether those hardware facilities the kind of experiments you are doing, how to make it online and how to control from online. That is important. So one is that make it connect it to internet, and another thing is that through internet how to control it. So these two things are important. You need to plan for it, but it is possible. Okay, sir.
Participants, do you have any questions, any more questions to ask to the resource person? Sir, a few questions which were already posted in the chat box have been listed. Shall I start asking those questions one after the other, sir?
Please,
okay.
Please, sir.
One Professor Dr. Amardeep Kurukwar had asked this question. Is there any provision or do you have any thought with respect to mentoring of tier 2 and tier 3 institutes by tier 1 institutes like yours for motivating and training the teachers to adopt, and how to do the virtual experiments, practice provisions in NEP, funding to virtual lab or access to the state of art with virtual lab? I think, he wants to understand, is there any provision that is available for the tier 2 and tier 3 institutions, by getting trained through tier 1 institutions? Is there any provisions of that kind that exist? Is his question, I think so.
Yeah, let me tell you, the National Education Policy clearly said that the top institutions, actually earlier it was there for National Institute of Importance, that IITs, they need to help nearby colleges and other institutions. Now National Education Policy is saying that these all top institutions, either based on NIRF ranking or this tier 1, you have said, and institution of eminence. So all the top institutions need to help other institutions nearby to grow. So this policy is clearly there, and you see, I am here because of that feeling. And if you want to make it official, yes, we need to discuss. The particular institute need to discuss with the particular institute, and then some kind of agreement, verbal or written, whatever it may be. So that we can help each other. It is possible. It is required and it is possible. And there is a clear instruction, I will not say, clear policy in National Education Policy is there. I can, have you got the answer, sir?
Yes, sir. Your answer to the question, sir. Shall I ask the next question, sir?
I can see one question here. When a student's strength is very high, that is 80 to 100, then it is very difficult to have a student-centric approach. What is your opinion?
Yes.
First of all, I agree with you that it is normally in universities abroad, they don't cross 40. But in India, even IITs also have seen 90 students are there in the class. So, but I agree, it is very tough, challenging if more than if 80 or 100, what you have mentioned, to make a student-centric approach, but challenging, I'm saying, but it is not impossible. Only the thing is that our responsibility will be more, and we need to give more time. That is something we need to do. Otherwise, it is possible. We'll have to do what to. In my class, in fact, 75 students are there. So it's time for me. Anyway, I'm trying to do it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the answer.
Yeah.
Shall I ask the next question, sir, from another participant?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sham has asked this question. How important is this training for teachers in student-centric teaching? Because the Indian culture is not so friendly to the students. So what he wants to ask is that Indian culture seems to be not very friendly to the students. In that circumstance, how important is this training that are, given to teachers play a very important role in student-centric teaching? Is what his question is, sir.
Yes. Actually, what the professor mentioned that Indian culture is not very friendly for students. I very much agree to that, because all these problems is coming in most of the Indian institutions. And Professor, what he said, it's very correct. Because of that, actually, in our institutions, a student-centric atmosphere is not improving. So, in spite of so many initiatives, we are going on with traditional teaching learning because that kind of culture is not there. This culture is very right, keep word he has mentioned, but who will change the culture? We the teachers, we the academic leaders, that culture we need to, you see in VIT up to some extent we have done. I will not say that. So actually the reason is whom you are following, that is important. We normally follow the best practices of top universities abroad. Because unfortunately in most of our government institutions, they hardly innovate anything in teaching and learning. They are also very conventional, traditional way they are going running the show. So that is why you need to see, you need to bring that kind of culture. And some people are think that our Indian culture is fine. You see the national education policy. Our Indian culture was not like that earlier. But we, in our culture was great, but we are forgetting our culture. So we need to do something to change that culture. And we cannot say that 100 years before the culture and now also it is the same culture. Everything changing with time. So why students' culture and our student teaching learning culture, why it will not change? Everything is changing. Our big radio has become now a small solid state radio. Like that, you see television before 10 years and now television. Similarly, mobile, everything. So everything is changing. Why student culture and teaching learning culture will not change? That we need to change. It is required change. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. One more question. How do I collect the R&D problems from the industry? This is actually a question that is posted by Dr. G. Kannan. The question is to you, sir.
Very important question, and very simple question also. That first of all, we need to visit industry. I told that many US universities give 1 day off to visit industries. When I was the dean of electrical engineering, I did that in my school. That sometimes I used to go with them. I made it compulsory that in every semester at least once one faculty will go to industry. If you want to visit more than one industry, no problem. In VIT actually Saturday, Sunday we have off. Saturday we used to visit industries. So sometimes in other day, working day also. Visiting industry is very, very important. If you visit industry, industry people give a lot of respect to the professors because they are all of our students. And so if you visit the industries, then you will be knowing about the problems, current problems, what is going on. Then you keep on discussing with them after coming from the industry, keep contact with them through mail, then over phone. So discuss with them, and finally you need to have some target in your mind. So unless and until that target fulfilled, you keep on talking with them. You see, in School of Electrical Engineering, I got 4 industry sponsored labs. So my target was very clear, and finally I got it. So the thing is that we need to continuously talk with them about the industry problems. You need to see where they need your help, and that is the best way actually to get the consultancy. In fact, recently my student he said that he has got 10 lakh one consultancy from Mentor Graphics, very prestigious. So he is a BLSI expert. So so like that, but all my students, I know that the last 4 or 5 years they're continuously working with Mentor Graphics and Foundry and other industries. So you need to be in touch with industries. You need to visit them. You need to talk with them. You need to be a very good friend of industries. Then gradually these things are possible. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. One more final question. This is actually a question that is posted by Dr.
I can
Meenakshi.
see one question. I can see one question here.
Yes, sir.
In
Yes, sir.
case of customer product, sorry,
Yes,
consumer
consumer
product,
product.
consumer behavior studies may help to understand necessary innovations. Definitely. So, consumer behavior actually normally we engineering people do not do, but it's management people did that. It's correct. I agree to you, sir. Please.
Shall I ask the next question, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, this is actually a question that is posted by Dr. Meenakshi Rati. How to go about the institutes where there is no infrastructure for getting and providing digital education? So she wants to highlight the factor that if there is no provision that is, if the institute is not very much built with its infrastructure, how to go with all this digital education and all that stuff is what is our question is.
Yeah, it's a very important question, and also the even government is also as a concern for it. I'm telling you, the World Economic Forum, they say that 2.5 billion people of the world only connected to internet. 2.5 billion people, it is just 1/3 of the total people of the population of the world. So now this digital infrastructure is not it's no more blessings. It is a right. Digital government now has taken so many decisions for improving digital infrastructure. Specifically, two things: device, this laptop, desktop, and high-speed internet connection. These two things are now the right of the people. But I agree, some of the institutions still they do not have digital infrastructure. Even say we are talking. Unfortunately, this what is called Zoom is very kind enough. They are giving some free connection for some time. But we have MS Team, Microsoft Team, which is very expensive, but we have procured it. So that particular institution need to procure at least these 2-3 things. One is you see in our university that we have this laptop is for all. So those kind of things actually mainly government need to take care of. And again, now laptop is not. It is possible by a teacher to procure. It is not very expensive, I think. But internet connection also. It is possible. There are so many private vendors giving internet connection through data also. It is not very costly. So digital infrastructure, but this MS Team kind of things that university need to take care. Otherwise, by Zoom or Google link, we need to manage.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. I think. Shall we wind up the session with this, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, one thing is that another professor has asked for the my lecture. What is called PowerPoint file. I'll share it, sir. I'll share it.
Yes, sir.
You
yes,
and
sir.
Please
yeah, I will share it among the participants. That's fine, sir. So we have come to the end of this first session of our 5th day's event. It was a very hair-raising session, and thank you, sir, for the end-sounding session on creating a student-centric teaching and learning environment. It gave us a holistic understanding about how better the learning ambience can be created with a view to improving the quality of education in India. Looking forward to hear from you about the best practices which are to be incorporated in our higher education system from your tomorrow's session. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you.
Participants, for your attention, the feedback link has already been posted in the chat box. Please do fill that, and you can go for a short break. The next session will commence by sharp 11:15 a.m. The resource speaker is going to be Dr. Prashant S. Nair. Thank you all.